I live for the moment, more or less. Every day I get up and I wake up feeling like crap, and then I go and have a shower, I have breakfast, and I'm alive, and then I go back to sleep, and I thank God in the morning that I'm still here, you know. And as long as I'm still alive, there'll be passion.
Three, look at the camera. Two.
Which camera am I looking at?
This one. We start with this one.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of the Shtick. It's the end of our 64th season, episode number 681. Very auspicious time for everybody because it's right here and right now that we are privileged to have in our studio or in my living room. Where are we, Arnold?
Well, you should know.
I don't know where we are.
It's your living room.
My living room,
Yeah, yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And it's great to be alive and great to have Arnold Zabel back on the Shtick. Hello, Arnold.
It's great to be here, Henry. And Mazel Tov on so many episodes. It's an amazing achievement.
It's almost a lifetime achievement.
Yeah, I think it is.
I was born on the 7th day of the 7th week of the year 1951. It was 3 years after my parents arrived in Israel with my sister. And then Dad came home from the Suez Canal and he said, Kinderlech me bleibt nicht, which in English means, kids, we're not staying. So we got sponsored by his cousin in Australia. So we left Haifa, took a boat through here. It was the most horrendous trip. We ended up in Marseille, got a train to the south of France here. Then we came back to Paris, flew from Paris to Bangkok. And then from Bangkok we flew to Sydney, where we lived for 3 months. I had my 7th birthday in Sydney. Then we came to Melbourne, which was our final destination. So that was our trip in 1957-58. And I had a lot of different names. My birth name was Yechiel Shulam. I was named after both my grandfathers. Pincus's wife took my sister and I to Brighton Road State School to enrol us. And the headmaster took us in and said, what's the girl's name? Esther, easy, E-S-T-E-R. What's the boy's name? And the headmaster said, bring him back on Monday with another name. So that's why I became Henry Greener, because Yechiel Shulam just didn't cut it. It's an avenue. It's all about the journey, and I've taken a journey through my whole life, and it's always been regarding a flow. And I tend to flow. I'm not the sort of person that stops and thinks too much about things. I just let it go. Living day to day, I think, has been my credo without even being conscious of it. It's like not being conscious of the camels coming into my life. I wasn't a collector until I started Phoenix Antiques, and then I became one myself because I was supplying collectors for many, many years and didn't realise what collecting was about until it hit me. And somehow or other, my item of interest was the camel. I have a great love for camels. I love the aesthetics of a camel. People say they're ugly, and the uglier they are, the more I love them. I had bought my first camel for $10 at a market. I looked down at this cushion and there was a camel and a baby camel and a palm tree oasis scene, and it looked up at me, the camel. The mother camel looked up at me and said, buy me. It was a serious reaction. Possessions are something that I have a bit of a problem with, because I think that attachment is one bit of my life that I've always struggled with. And somehow or other I've been very attached to my camels, and to a lot of my possessions. I would like to live in a much less cluttered way without all this stuff. But again, I have to say it's acceptance. I accept my life for how it is, and life could be a lot worse, I can tell you that. This house is my comfort zone. I've been here 21 years, and in that time, I'm really completely and utterly tied to this place because this is where the centre of my universe is. In 1999, when I moved into this house, I had an epiphany. It was an idea that if you don't capture something on video, it's gone forever. It goes into the ether, because the ether is where all of life is. It's all like flying around there. And that was like an instant transition to the Shtick. One day I was invited on one day by 3 different people to go to a meeting. And Channel 31 said, look, we really are trying to get all our programs to have more local content. And because I was seen filming, they said, hey, this guy can give us local content. And so from there it just went into let's make the next show. And our first show was filmed at the RMIT studios. The 7th show, I was appointed, anointed by the rest of the crew as the producer and cameraman, and then I had my own segment called What's Your Shtick? This week on the Shtick we have with us as our special guest Lisa Farber. I'm going to ask Lisa, what's your shtick? So the show's essentially been 3 segments with a schmooze, interviews, blah, blah, blah. So it hasn't changed much. But in 2010, everybody sort of dropped out. I mean, everyone was sort of trying to help. But we had way too many people some days, and then we didn't have enough people another day. We didn't know what we were doing, but it was in my hands to produce the show. So in 2010, we got a whole new look and a whole new feel when Amit came on board. He started in 2011.
When I first met Henry, I was just... I arrived to Australia in 2007 from Israel, and I was volunteering in a radio station. It happened to be that Henry Greener was there filming the setup of the station. He was there, filming another episode for his Shtick. And we had a chat. I saw a guy with a camera with a hat. You can't ignore a man with a hat and a camera. That's his trademark. And I approached him, and because I'm also a video editor, and I said, look, I just came from Israel, and I love what you're doing. Do you want me to help you? Do you need some help with the Shtick? And he said, yeah, come help me with the Shtick. I'm like, cool.
What I like about Amit is that he doesn't cringe at anything. He does not say, I can't do that, right? And we have the odd moment where, I have to put him in his place and say, hey, I run this show.
I mean, I feel like this is my second home. And I feel that without him, there's no Shtick. Without me, there's no Shtick. So I'm like his second half, because technically, I don't think he's capable, to be honest, to do it all by himself, because he will definitely need help from someone who is willing to help him with the technical side.
And we'll be back next week with more Shtick. We're going to be crossing a bridge. You'll find out all about it if you tune in next week.
Cut. Henry, we're too long. It's
Mate,
30 minutes.
This is YouTube, don't
It's
worry.
40 minutes, it's too long.
No, it's not.
It
We
is.
can do 45 minutes if we want.
No, we can't. It's boring, 45 minutes.
Mate, this is not fucking boring. Stop with your boring shit.
He'll find one. You know what?
And I've had shows with mixed, men and women, religious, not religious, orthodox, liberal, young, old, every topic imaginable. We've covered just about every topic imaginable. And that, to me, is really important, to give the context and to give the breadth and the width of what our community does. I tell people ask me, what are you doing? Why are you doing the Shtick? And I say, I'm on a mission from God. I'm happy with who I am and what I do. I'm not going to be like somebody else or be what somebody else wants me to be. I am who I am.
When I first arrived to this house, I looked around, wow, I saw all these camels, and I saw he's got passion for camels, of course, he's a collector. But then he came with the Shtick, so, and then you think yourself, okay, the Shtick is his baby, that's his son, so, and he wants to kind of show off, he wants to show the community, the Jewish community, that, oh, look, I'm the only, and he is actually the only media in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere, when you think about it. So he's got a very important media tool in his hands, because after all, it is being shown on television on Channel 31. Yeah. So he's got the power. The Shtick will run forever, if you ask me.
A lot of people don't think much of community TV because it's not in that same category of the glitz and the glamour and the high ratings that the other channels have. But essentially, we don't give a damn.
I don't know, even if there are very low viewers, like little people watching it, like less people, I think that he will actually keep going. It doesn't matter. He will keep going no matter what. And he gets upset every time when there are 10, 15 views. He bangs the table. He says, why there are only 10 people watching it? I'm working so hard and only 10 people are watching it. But he will keep going. That's his passion. You can't stop him.
I'm very humble. I don't do this for my ego or for any kind of reason. You know, I do feel that I'm slightly underrated. I think we should get more support, especially from the Jewish community, for the show that I do, for the Shtick. The Shtick is really essentially to give us a good image, and that's what's important, because we have a lot of enemies out there who are people who are ignorant. Anti-Semitism and racism is what I'm fighting against.
Yeah, well, the usual bar, that hasn't changed much.
Some things don't change. Yeah. We like to keep things as simple as possible. But out there in the big wide world, some things also don't change.
Yeah, that's
and there's some sort of hate and acrimony and division going on. We see that happening everywhere. And I've always said that education's the only way we can eradicate it in some way.
Well, a lot of the stuff actually exists because of people's lack of knowledge. And
I'm never going to retire, by the way. That's one of my philosophies, is that, you know, people, yesterday I went to Jewish Care and looked at the retirement home. It's very luxurious, but it's not for me. No, I'd rather be in a hut in the bush, you know, living with the animals.
Do you have any regrets? Anything?
Tons. Tons of regrets, yeah. But that's okay, because there's choices you make, and you don't really know if that would have taken you to the right place.
Yeah.
And wherever you happen to be is where you happen to be. This is my life. On my life's journey, I've found that I have no control. In many aspects, parts of my life are just the way they are. You have to just let it be, and you see that fate makes life. There's a greater power than ourselves that leads to our destiny, and wherever you happen to go, that's where you are. I find that I've been every week challenged with every show. It doesn't matter how many shows you make, there is always challenges. You can't say, oh look, I've done this before, well, it's just going to work, you know, because there are always obstacles, there are other things that get in your way, that make it difficult, and you've got to just fight. We do a two-man show, we do it every week. It's not like one particular doco, we just keep churning it out. My mother always used to say to me, Henry, do your best, darling. And that's all you can do. You can only do the best you can do. And if people criticize you, well then that's their problem. There's only so much you can do in one day. And then you think, okay, I'll do the rest tomorrow. We'll be back next week with more Shtick. I love to go a-wandering along the mountain track, And as I walk, I love to sing, my knapsack on my back. Fel-de-ree, fel-de-ra, fel-de-ree, fel-de-ra, fel-de-ree, fel-de-ra, la 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 la, my knapsack on my back. Come upstairs.
Wow.